One of the crowning jewels of the 2026 Airshow season, the Swedish Air Force's 100th anniversary Airshow was held at Linköping, and it told the Air Force's story through from its early beginnings to the Cold War and the Air Force of today. Key to it all, the Swedish Air Force historic flight's enviable selection of classic jets, which put in solo and formation appearances throughout the day. And the Blackhawk and Gripen were the main representatives of the modern Swedish Air Force, performing solo displays, formation routines and tactical demonstrations. There were select visitors from abroad as well, including no fewer than 3 national aerobatic teams, plus solo displays from the Hornet, Rafale and Typhoon. In this short programme, we'll recap the key highlights. There is a longer 1 hour 45-minute version on the Planes TV streaming service featuring every single display. Key to the appeal of the show was the Swedish Air Force Historic Flight, one of the most ambitious vintage aircraft collections in the world. The Saab B-17 was the first of their aircraft to display, an early Swedish attempt at building a frontline military aircraft, with design work beginning in 1938. The B-17 is the dive bomber version of this design, as evidenced by the huge landing gear fairings which act as dive brakes. Five of the organisation's vintage jets took to the air, including the J-29, informally nicknamed the Tunnan, one of the first operational swept-wing jets. The J-32 Lansen was a dedicated attack aircraft, though it was also produced for the reconnaissance role. More streamlined than its contemporaries, the Lansen had excellent performance for its day, but was replaced in the 1970s by the multi-role Viggen. The Viggen was an aircraft of searing performance, capable of very high speed, high altitude flight, while also having excellent short takeoff and landing performance and minimal maintenance requirements. It could operate from highway strips, and a skeleton team could refuel and rearm the aircraft in only 10 minutes. The J-29, Lansen and Viggen joined up with a J-35 Draken, JAS-39C Gripen and SK-60, showcasing 6 of Saab's most enduring jet designs. The J-29 also flew with two of its Cold War contemporaries, the Sabre and MiG-15. These were far from the only historic types on show. Mikael Karlsson flew his replica Tunnan A, a licence-built version of the Blériot 11 and one of the first aircraft types to be produced in Sweden. He also displayed his A-1 Tummelisa. The A-1 was a training aircraft developed for the Swedish Army Aviation Corps after the end of the First World War, officially nicknamed the Tummeliten after Tom Thumb from the Hans Christian Andersen tale, but pilots quickly changed its name to Tummelisa, or Tammy Thumb, due to the aircraft's tendency to snap roll onto its back. Just one Tummelisa survives on static display in the Swedish Air Force Museum, but Mikael built this very faithful replica in the 1980s. The Rolls-Royce Heritage Flight sent their Spitfire PR-19 representing Sweden's Cold War-era S-31s. The aircraft wore temporary Swedish markings for the occasion. There were historic helicopters aplenty as well, with many participating in a special formation of current and former Army aviation and rotary types. The Swedish Air Force Museum also staged a surprise two-ship display with two HKP-5Bs, the Swedish name for the Hughes 269. Various foreign air arms joined the festivities, and this French Air and Space Force Rafale C put on one of the most eye-catching displays of the weekend. The Finnish Air Force's Hornet solo display has become renowned as one of the best solo jet displays in Europe. Finland ordered 64 Hornets in 1992 to replace the Saab Draken and MiG-21, with deliveries commencing in 1995. All the single-seat C models were built in Finland, and they feature various improvements compared to their American-built counterparts, including stronger hinges in the wings and some additional honeycomb structure internally, which increases the maximum load factor from 7.5 G in a standard Hornet to 9 G with the Finnish ones. The RAF Red Arrows were among the 3 national aerobatic teams at the show, joined by the Frecce Tricolori and the Midnight Hawks. It was fabulous to see the Frecce Tricolori back to full 10-ship strength after a tricky few seasons. With several aircraft damaged during a minor mid-air collision last year, the unit has been short of airframes and has spent most of the last 2 seasons displaying with between 6 and 9 aircraft. This is probably one of the team's last international appearances flying the MB339. The team is due to switch to the T346A Master in the coming years. The modern Swedish Air Force was represented by the Gripen and the Blackhawk, which both performed individually and in groups. The Swedish Air Force ordered a fleet of 15 UH-60Ms in 2011 to fulfill an operational requirement for a medical evacuation helicopter for use in Afghanistan. It was originally purchased as a stopgap to account in delays to NH-90 deliveries, although it may well be the case that the Blackhawk actually outlasts the NH-90 in Swedish service on account of its lower cost and better reliability. There were two Gripen solo displays, an in-service Gripen C and a Gripen E from Saab. The Gripen E is a new generation Gripen, which carries more fuel and weapons, is fitted with a more powerful engine and has more advanced radar. Two Gripen Cs performed an energetic tactical display. And we enjoyed this four-ship from the urban cowboys of 212 Squadron of the F-21 wing. The Swedish Air Force no longer has an official aerobatic team, but this comes close. The Gripen is emblematic of Sweden's wider air defence doctrine, a unique domestically produced product, and the latest in a long line of such designs. No other country with a population this small has such a large, sovereign military aviation industry, and few other countries of any size have such a storied history of producing military aircraft as innovative and compelling as the ones we've seen at this show. You can see much more of all the displays in a feature-length programme on the Planes TV streaming service.